Have you ever felt that there's something extraordinarily powerful just beyond your reach? Something ancient, something forbidden, a force so transformative that if harnessed correctly could completely revolutionize your existence? What if I told you that today, right here, we're about to cross that threshold together? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Throughout human history, certain knowledge has been carefully guarded, preserved only for those deemed worthy or ready. But what determines readiness? Who decides when humanity can handle the profound truths that have been hidden in plain sight for millennia? The reality is that we've been conditioned to operate within a limited framework, taught to believe that success comes only through struggle, that wealth requires sacrifice, that love is rare and fleeting. Has this ever happened to you? You work diligently toward a goal, following all the prescribed steps, only to find yourself still yearning for something more? There exists an invisible architecture supporting our reality, a framework of energy, intention, and consciousness that responds to us in ways modern science is only beginning to comprehend. This isn't mysticism or fantasy. It's the bleeding edge where quantum physics meets ancient wisdom. And understanding this framework gives you access to what can only be described as an unlimited power source. Imagine possessing the ability to manifest abundance without the traditional constraints of time and effort. Picture yourself attracting precisely the relationships that fulfill you at the deepest level. Envision a life where your most ambitious dreams materialize with an almost supernatural efficiency. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because these aren't new secrets. They're ancient ones, deliberately obscured, waiting for rediscovery. They've been hidden in symbolism, encoded in texts, whispered through generations by those who understood their true value. The question isn't whether these secrets exist, but rather why they've been kept from widespread knowledge. Stay with me until the end, because the information I'm about to share transcends typical self-improvement advice. We're not talking about positive thinking or visualization exercises, though they play their part. We're discussing something far more fundamental: the ability to consciously engage with the underlying fabric of reality itself. The key to unlimited money, profound success, authentic love, and true freedom isn't found in external circumstances or possessions. It resides in mastering something that has always been within your grasp, something you've been using unconsciously your entire life. This invisible power operates whether you're aware of it or not. The difference is that those who understand its mechanisms can direct it with intention, while those who remain ignorant of it are subject to its random fluctuations. Today, we stand at the precipice of revelation. The veil is thinning, and what lies beyond it is not darkness, but rather a blinding light of possibility that few have ever dared to fully comprehend. Subscribe now and join the invisible power journey every day. I drop a new key to train your imagination, align your emotions, and shape reality with precision. Don't just watch change, create it with us. Right now, if you were to pay attention to your surroundings, your whole world is being orchestrated by a magnificent intelligence far beyond what we can comprehend. This isn't mystical thinking, it's a practical reality that shapes every experience in your life. Imagination truly is the secret workshop of God. Think about that for a moment. Everything you see around you, from the device you're watching this on to the building you're in, began as someone's mental image before it manifested physically. But this principle goes so much deeper than just the creation of objects and inventions. What many don't realize is that we're constantly using this workshop, often unconsciously. The mental pictures you hold, especially the ones charged with emotion, are like blueprints being submitted to this universal intelligence. The question isn't whether this process works, it's always working, but rather, what kind of blueprints are you regularly submitting? I discovered this hidden truth during a particularly challenging period in my life. Everything seemed to be falling apart, and I couldn't understand why my circumstances kept deteriorating despite my best efforts. It wasn't until I began examining my thought patterns that I realized I had been unconsciously imagining worst-case scenarios, creating detailed mental pictures of exactly what I didn't want to happen. The revelation was both humbling and empowering. If my negative imagination had created unwanted results with such precision, what could happen if I deliberately redirected this power? Here's what makes this transformative principle so compelling. It follows mathematical precision. Just as gravity doesn't care who you are when you step off a building, this invisible power responds to your mental images, words, and emotions with absolute impartiality. There's no judgment, only obedience to the law. When you truly grasp this, you begin to see your mental and emotional state not just as private experiences, but as causal forces. Your dominant thoughts aren't just reflections of your inner world. They're the architects of your outer experiences. Most people live their entire lives never realizing the journey between imagination and manifestation. They attribute their circumstances to luck, fate, or external conditions, missing the profound connection between their inner workshop and their lived reality. What's fascinating is how this principle intersects with modern science. Quantum physics has shown us that at the most fundamental level, matter behaves differently when observed. The implications are staggering. Consciousness itself appears to influence physical reality. While scientists debate the full meaning of these findings, they align perfectly with what spiritual teachers have claimed for millennia. The practical application of this knowledge creates a decisive shift in how you navigate life. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you begin to see yourself as their origin point. This doesn't mean ignoring practical action. Quite the opposite. Actions taken from this understanding carry a different quality and produce different results. Press like to anchor this message and strengthen your field. It helps the channel grow, and it signals you're choosing faith over doubt, vision over noise. I've witnessed countless transformations in people who embrace this principle. From health improvements to financial breakthroughs, relationships healing to creative accomplishments, the common denominator was always a deliberate shift in their mental imagery combined with aligned emotion. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how you can practically harness this power in everyday situations, even when facing challenging circumstances that seem to contradict what you're trying to create. If what I've shared resonates with your own experiences or intuition, type "workshop activated" in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this foundational principle. When we talk about imagination, we're not discussing childish fantasies. We're addressing one of the most potent creative forces in the universe. Your mind is literally a workshop of creation, and imagination is your primary tool. If you cannot first picture it mentally, you cannot experience it physically. This is the invisible bridge between thought and manifestation. Think about the device you're watching this video on right now. Before it existed in the physical world, it existed as an idea in someone's imagination. Every invention, every business, every relationship, they all began as mental concepts before they materialized. This transformation from thought to reality isn't magical thinking. It's the fundamental mechanism of how our consciousness interacts with the world around us. What's particularly fascinating about this law is that your awareness of it isn't required for it to function. Much like gravity doesn't need your belief or understanding to keep you grounded. The law of attraction operates consistently whether you acknowledge it or not. This revelation can be either empowering or concerning, depending on your perspective. If you've been unconsciously broadcasting negative expectations into the universe, those signals have been operating in the background of your experience, shaping outcomes you may have attributed to bad luck. Consider how often we engage in worried thinking without realizing we're activating this very principle. When you constantly imagine worst-case scenarios or dwell on what might go wrong, you're essentially placing an order with the universe for those very circumstances. The journey toward conscious creation begins when you recognize the hidden truth that your thoughts aren't just passive observations, they are active participants in constructing your reality. The most profound impact of understanding this principle comes when you realize that you've been using this power all along, just perhaps not to your advantage. Those who seem to have the Midas touch or experience lucky streaks may simply be those who, either intentionally or intuitively, have aligned their mental frameworks with positive expectations and outcomes. Behind the scenes of every success story lies this fundamental mindset shift, moving from being at the mercy of circumstances to becoming the conscious architect of your experience. This isn't about denying challenges or pretending problems don't exist. It's about recognizing your capacity to respond creatively rather than reactively to life situations. What makes this principle so powerful is that it operates at all scales, from the seemingly trivial daily encounters to life-changing decisions and circumstances. Every thought carries a vibrational signature that ripples outward, connecting with matching energies and experiences. The question becomes, what kind of ripples are you creating in your mindscape? I've observed that when people first encounter this concept, they often divide into two camps: those who embrace it immediately because it validates what they've intuitively sensed, and those who resist it because it challenges their perception of how reality functions. Wherever you find yourself on this spectrum, I encourage you to approach this knowledge with both an open mind and healthy skepticism. Test it in your own experience rather than accepting or rejecting it outright. As we continue exploring this principle and its practical applications, take a moment to reflect on times when your expectations, positive or negative, seemed to manifest with surprising accuracy. Were these mere coincidences, or were you witnessing this very law in action? If this perspective on imagination and reality resonates with what you've experienced in your own life, write in the comments, "I've seen this working." It's fascinating how easily we can work against ourselves without realizing it. Consider how many people unconsciously invoke this law in reverse, focusing intensely on what they don't want, only to manifest exactly that unwanted outcome. When someone constantly worries about financial struggles, repeating thoughts like, "I'll never have enough," or "I'm always broke," they're essentially programming their subconscious to seek and create those very experiences. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem trapped in cycles of limitation. Their mental imagery is filled with what they fear rather than what they desire. They're visualizing poverty, rejection, or failure with such emotional intensity that these thoughts become the dominant frequency they broadcast into the universe. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people simply flip this script. The mind doesn't distinguish between positive and negative framing. It simply accepts what you consistently focus on. This is why reframing your thoughts from "I don't want to be poor" to "I am creating abundant wealth" creates an entirely different energetic blueprint for your reality. The journey toward manifestation isn't just about positive thinking, it's about genuine inner acceptance. When you reach that point where your conscious desires align with your subconscious beliefs, something magical happens. You develop what I call unwavering expectancy, a state where you're so confidently aligned with your vision that its manifestation feels inevitable rather than hopeful. Your external world is essentially a canvas reflecting your internal reality. The degree to which you truly accept something as possible or better yet, as already yours, determines how quickly and completely it materializes. This is why two people can practice identical visualization techniques with dramatically different results. One person might be going through the motions while harboring doubts, while the other has achieved that deeper state of acceptance. Remember, the subconscious doesn't understand jokes or sarcasm. It's a literal interpreter of your most consistent thoughts and feelings. Every time you catch yourself in patterns of lack-based thinking or visualization, recognize it as an opportunity to redirect your mental energy. This awareness alone can spark profound shifts in your manifestation abilities. Now I want to go even deeper into understanding how to practically apply this knowledge to create tangible results in your life. The power lies not just in understanding these principles intellectually, but in implementing them through consistent practice until they become your default operating system. What's truly fascinating is how this inner acceptance creates a ripple effect throughout your life experiences. When you've internally accepted something as truth, whether that's financial abundance, loving relationships, or vibrant health, you begin making different decisions, noticing different opportunities, and taking different actions, often without conscious awareness of the shift. Type inner alignment in the comments if you're starting to see how your subconscious beliefs might be influencing your current reality. Understanding this connection is the first step toward reclaiming your creative power. Consider the real power behind a simple shift in thinking. When you operate from absolute faith about your desired reality, something profound begins to unfold in your experience. This isn't about blind optimism. It's about a deliberate choice to align your internal state with what you want to manifest. What I've discovered is that acting with unwavering certainty, behaving as if your desires are already fulfilled, creates a powerful resonance that the universe responds to. Think about it. When you're certain about something, you move differently, speak differently, and make decisions from a completely different energy. This certainty becomes a magnetic force that draws your desires toward you through paths you couldn't have logically planned. The transformation happens when you stop treating your desires as distant possibilities and start experiencing them as present realities in your imagination. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and physical ones. It responds to both with equal power. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to manifest their desires with apparent ease, while others struggle despite taking similar actions. I want to go even deeper into this concept because imagination, coupled with genuine emotion, creates an unstoppable force. When you not only visualize your desired outcome, but feel the emotions associated with already having achieved it, the gratitude, joy, and fulfillment, you're essentially broadcasting at a frequency that can overcome any obstacle or limitation in your path. This emotional component isn't just supplementary, it's essential. Emotion is the fuel that powers your visualizations beyond mere daydreaming into the realm of manifestation. Think about times when you felt completely immersed in an experience, perhaps while watching a moving film or hearing a powerful piece of music. That total emotional engagement is what creates the energetic signature that begins rearranging your reality. What's fascinating about this journey is how it reveals the limitations we've unconsciously placed on ourselves. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that certain things are realistic, while others aren't. But these boundaries exist primarily in our minds. When you begin living from the end result, emotionally, experiencing your desires as fulfilled, these self-imposed limitations begin to dissolve. I've witnessed this process unfold countless times, both in my life and in the experiences of others. People who fully embrace this way of being, living from absolute certainty while infusing their imagination with genuine emotion, often report breakthroughs that seemed impossible by conventional standards. Opportunities arise mysteriously, ideal circumstances align, and solutions present themselves from unexpected directions. The revelation here is that your imagination, properly engaged, isn't escaping reality, it's creating it. By harnessing the emotional power of your imagination, you're engaging the most creative force in the universe. When you consistently hold your desired state with emotional conviction, despite external evidence to the contrary, you're participating in an alchemical process that transforms potential into actuality. If this approach resonates with you, start paying attention to the difference between merely thinking about what you want versus emotionally experiencing it as already yours. Notice the subtle shifts in how you carry yourself when you truly believe something is already done. Type "living from the end" in the comments if you're ready to practice this transformative approach to manifestation. Understand that sustaining your vision isn't just about occasional visualization. It requires fiery faith that burns consistently beneath everything you do. This isn't casual wishing. It's an unrelenting belief that becomes the backbone of your reality. When you genuinely believe in your vision with unwavering conviction, you create a magnetic force that begins to pull circumstances, opportunities, and people toward you in service of that vision. I've observed this phenomenon repeatedly in my own journey and in the stories of remarkable achievers. They don't just hope for success, they operate from the profound certainty that their vision is already materializing. This transforms their energy completely. They make decisions differently, speak differently, and navigate challenges with an underlying confidence that transmits powerful signals to the universe. The hidden truth that many miss is that manifestation works through resonance. Your vibrational state must match what you're calling in. When doubt creeps in, it creates static in that frequency. That's why protecting your vision becomes absolutely critical to successful manifestation. The world is filled with well-meaning people who will inadvertently contaminate your dream with their limitations, fears, and skepticism. Consider your vision as a sacred flame that requires careful tending. Each doubtful thought, each realistic opinion from someone who doesn't share your belief system acts like water droplets threatening to extinguish that flame. This doesn't mean isolating yourself, but it does mean being intentional about the energetic boundaries around your dreams. I'm reminded of a profound revelation I experienced during a period when I was struggling to manifest a particular goal. Despite my visualization efforts, progress seemed blocked. Through deep reflection, I realized I had allowed certain voices, both external critics and my own inner skeptic, to take up residence in my consciousness. My vision was being diluted by these conflicting energies. The transformation began when I made a deliberate decision to guard my mental space with the same vigilance I would protect any precious physical possession. I became selective about who I shared my dreams with and recognized that not everyone deserves access to your sacred vision, especially in its vulnerable early stages. This principle extends beyond just avoiding negative people. Even the most loving friends and family might unconsciously project their own limitations onto your path. Their concern comes from affection, but their perspective may be shaped by their own unaddressed fears. Understanding. This allows you to receive their love while filtering their doubt. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the practical behaviors that support sustained faith in your vision. The journey between initial inspiration and physical manifestation often requires navigating through what spiritual teachers call the dark night of the soul, that period where evidence of your manifestation seems absent and your faith is tested to its limits. During these crucial testing periods, your habits become the scaffolding that holds your vision in place. Immersing yourself in environments, conversations, and media that reinforce your beliefs becomes not just helpful, but essential. This might mean surrounding yourself with success stories similar to what you're creating, engaging with communities where extraordinary achievements are normalized, or creating physical reminders that keep your vision fresh and vivid in your consciousness. Consider implementing a practice I call vision insulation, actively creating buffers between your precious dream and potential sources of doubt. This might involve temporarily limiting conversations about your goals with certain people, curating your social media to support your beliefs, or establishing morning rituals that reinforce your vision before the day's challenges arise. Remember that manifestation thrives in an atmosphere of unwavering faith. This doesn't mean blind denial of obstacles, but rather a deeper understanding that challenges are simply part of the unfolding process that leads to your desired outcome. If you're currently navigating a period where your faith feels tested, drop in the comments, "My faith is stronger than my doubts." This simple affirmation can help realign your energy with the manifestation you're calling in. The beauty in discovering that our true identity as creators isn't something we need to earn or be given permission for. It's already who we are at our core. We've been creating since childhood, whether through imagination, play, or problem solving. The journey isn't about becoming a creator. It's about remembering that you already are one and removing the artificial barriers you've built around that truth. Consider how often we wait for the perfect moment to begin, the right equipment, the right training, the right validation from others. But these are just comfortable excuses that keep us safely in waiting mode rather than creating mode. Every master you admire started as a beginner who simply began before they felt ready. They understood that creativity flourishes through practice, not perfection. This mindset shift represents one of the most profound transformations possible in your creative journey. When you internalize that, you don't need anyone's permission to create, not a degree, not industry connections, not even approval from peers. You unlock a freedom that changes everything. Creation becomes less about external validation and more about authentic expression. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how the images we hold of ourselves shape our reality. There's something remarkably powerful about the mental pictures we maintain about who we are and what we're capable of. These internal images act as blueprints that our actions naturally follow. They become self-fulfilling prophecies in the truest sense. If you see yourself as someone who just isn't creative, your brain will diligently find evidence to support that belief. You'll notice and magnify your failures while dismissing your successes as luck or anomalies. But if you consciously choose to hold an image of yourself as inherently creative, even if you don't yet have external evidence, something remarkable begins to happen. Your decisions, focus, and actions gradually align with that identity. Think about how differently you move through the world when you picture yourself as capable versus incapable. The difference isn't just psychological, it manifests in tangible outcomes. I've witnessed countless people transform their creative output not by drastically changing their skills overnight, but by first changing the image they held of themselves as creators. This internal image acts like a compass that guides both conscious and subconscious choices. When faced with a creative obstacle, the person who identifies as not really creative will likely retreat, seeing the challenge as confirmation of their limitations. But the person who holds an image of themselves as resourceful and creative will approach the same obstacle with curiosity, resilience, and a willingness to experiment. The revelation here isn't that positive thinking alone creates success. Rather, it's that the images we choose to nurture about ourselves set in motion a cascade of small choices, each reinforcing that identity. Over time, these choices compound into visible results that either confirm or challenge our self-concept. What's particularly fascinating is how this process operates largely behind the scenes of our conscious awareness. The images we hold aren't just abstract concepts. They become embedded in our nervous system, influencing everything from our posture to our tone of voice to how we approach creative problems. This understanding gives us tremendous power. By deliberately choosing to hold images of ourselves that align with who we want to become, rather than limiting stories from our past, we participate actively in our own becoming. The question shifts from, am I creative enough, to, what kind of creator am I choosing to be today? Drop a comment with, I choose my image, if you've ever noticed how your self-perception has either limited or expanded your creative possibilities. I'd love to hear your experiences with this powerful phenomenon. The art of seeing what others can't is really what separates the creators from the consumers in our world. Think about how the device you're watching this on began, as an image, in someone's mind before becoming the physical reality in your hands. This mental sight is arguably our greatest human superpower, yet so many of us leave it completely untrained. Every major transformation in history began with someone who could see what wasn't yet visible to others. They didn't just passively imagine, they deliberately engaged with their mental creations until these visions became so detailed and compelling that manifesting them became almost inevitable. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the practical application of our neurological capacity for visualization. When you understand that your imagination isn't just for daydreaming, but actually functions as your personal creation laboratory, everything changes. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. Both create neural pathways and emotional responses that shape your decisions and actions. This neurological reality is the hidden bridge between thought and manifestation that most people never consciously cross. I've found that deliberate imagination practice works like compound interest for your creative abilities. Start by dedicating just 10 minutes daily to vividly imagining your goals as already accomplished, engaging all your senses in this mental rehearsal. What would success look, sound, and feel like? Who would be there? What would you say? The more detailed this mental scene becomes, the more your subconscious begins accepting it as a blueprint for reality. This practice goes far beyond simple positive thinking. You're literally rewiring your perception filters to recognize opportunities aligned with your vision that your brain would otherwise filter out as irrelevant noise. The journey toward any meaningful achievement becomes clearer because you've already walked it mentally numerous times. What fascinates me most about this approach is how it transforms obstacles from roadblocks into stepping stones. When challenges arise, and they always will, you're not encountering them for the first time. Your prepared mind has already processed potential solutions because your imagination has previewed various scenarios and responses. The people who seem to have good luck are often those who've trained themselves to see possibilities where others see dead ends. They've developed what I call possibility vision, the ability to perceive multiple pathways forward in situations where most people see none. This isn't an inborn talent. It's a cultivated skill that comes from treating your imagination as the serious creative tool it was meant to be. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how you can systematically strengthen your imagination muscles through specific exercises that build your capacity for detailed visualization. Just as physical training develops your body, mental visualization practice develops your creative faculties in ways that directly impact your ability to bring ideas into reality. If what I've described resonates with your experience or feels like a missing piece in your approach to goals, type imagination activated in the comments. I'd love to know who's ready to transform their mental creation lab from a casual space into a powerful workshop for reality building. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the hidden mechanics of manifestation that few people fully grasp. When we talk about certainty, we're not just talking about positive thinking. We're talking about an unshakable inner knowing that transcends doubt. This is the transformational element that separates those who consistently manifest their desires from those who remain frustrated by the process. Think about it this way. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are being. Your energetic signature, your dominant emotional state, your deepest convictions, and your unconscious beliefs creates a vibrational blueprint that the invisible power works through. This isn't metaphysical mumbo-jumbo. It's about understanding the relationship between your internal reality and your external experience. Many people approach manifestation like they're placing an order at a cosmic drive-through, waiting for delivery while remaining essentially unchanged. But here's the revelation that changed everything for my journey. Manifestation is an inside-out process. Your external circumstances are always catching up to your internal evolution. The hidden truth is that you must become the person who already has what you desire before it physically appears. This creates an interesting paradox. You're not manifesting something new. You're simply aligning with what already exists in potential form. Your certainty acts as the bridge between these realities. I discovered this principle during a particularly challenging period in my life. I was desperately trying to manifest financial abundance while carrying a deep-seated belief that money was scarce and difficult to obtain. No amount of affirmations or visualization exercises could override this core programming. The breakthrough came when I realized I needed to fundamentally shift my relationship with abundance at the identity level. This brings us to the crucial insight about internal changes. The quality of your life isn't determined by what you do, it's determined by who you become. When you shift your self-concept, your perception of who you are at the deepest level, your behaviors naturally align with that new identity. You don't need to force yourself to take action. Inspired action becomes the natural expression of your evolved self. Consider how differently you'd approach your day if you genuinely believed yourself to be abundantly wealthy versus constantly struggling. The decisions you'd make, the opportunities you'd notice, the people you'd attract, all would shift dramatically based on this single change in perception. The universe mirrors back to you your predominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This mirroring effect is constant and unerring. If you're not seeing what you want in your external reality, it's time to examine what you're projecting internally. The insight here isn't to blame yourself for current circumstances, but to recognize the immense power you have to reshape them through internal transformation. Your mind is literally the control panel for manifestation. When you achieve congruence between your conscious desires and your subconscious, programming manifestation becomes effortless. This alignment creates a clear channel for the invisible power to flow through, bringing your desires into physical form with seemingly miraculous speed and precision. If you're resonating with these deeper truths about manifestation, type "inner alignment is the key" in the comments below. Now, let's explore how you can practically apply these principles to create profound shifts in your reality. The essence of what we're uncovering here reaches far beyond simple visualization. It's about understanding the resonance between your internal vibration and the physical world around you. When you sit in that quiet space within your mind, you're not just daydreaming. You're establishing a vibrational frequency that the universe responds to. This is the hidden mechanics behind why some people manifest their desires while others remain stuck in endless wanting. Think about the last time you felt completely aligned with your purpose. That feeling of rightness, of being exactly where you should be. That's your essence vibrating in harmony with universal energy. It's not mystical jargon. It's a tangible experience we've all felt in those rare moments when everything just flows. The journey into your mental laboratory isn't casual, it's sacred. When you enter this space with intention, you're engaging in an ancient practice that transcends cultures and time periods. From Buddhist meditation to quantum physics, the understanding that consciousness shapes reality has been a consistent thread in human knowledge. The difference is that now we're recognizing this as a practical tool rather than esoteric philosophy. Your mental laboratory becomes the blueprint for reality. The clarity of your vision there directly impacts what materializes in your physical experience. I've witnessed remarkable transformations in people who committed to this practice, not because they discovered some magic trick, but because they finally understood the relationship between their inner and outer worlds. Consider how architects must first create detailed blueprints before a single brick is laid. Your visualization serves the same purpose. It's the essential first step in the construction of your reality. Without this blueprint, you're essentially building blindfolded, hoping to stumble upon what you want. The most profound revelation in this process is discovering that the boundary between imagination and reality is far more permeable than you've been led to believe. Every human innovation, every advancement in our civilization began as someone's mental picture before it existed physically. The smartphone in your pocket, the building you're sitting in, the music you love, all were visualized before they were created. What's fascinating about this mental laboratory approach is that it bypasses the critical mind, the part of you that's been programmed with limitations and impossibilities. When you fully immerse in visualization, you create neural pathways that your brain cannot distinguish from actual experience. This is why athletes visualize perfect performance and experience improved results. Their nervous system registers the mental rehearsal as valid training. Your participation in this process is not passive. You're not merely thinking about what you want. You're engaging all your senses to create an experience so vivid that your body begins responding as if it's already real. This is the bridge between thought and manifestation, the ability to generate authentic emotional responses to imagined scenarios. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this mental laboratory becomes a catalyst for profound decision-making that shapes your life trajectory. The choices you make after clear visualization come from a different place. They're informed by possibility rather than limitation. This shift in decision-making alone can revolutionize your results. If any of this resonates with the experiences you've had when deeply visualizing your goals, write "My laboratory is open" in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the transformative power of internal silence. Think about it. In a world filled with constant noise, notifications, and mental chatter, silence has become something of a forgotten treasure. Yet within this silence lies the fertile ground where our clearest vision takes root. When we approach internal silence with intention, something remarkable happens. The mental fog that clouds our judgment begins to lift. It's as if we've been trying to navigate our path while looking through a dirty windshield, and suddenly someone comes along and wipes it clean. The destination hasn't changed, but our ability to see it with clarity has dramatically improved. This journey toward inner quietude isn't merely about absence of sound. It's about creating space where intuition can speak to us without interference. Have you ever noticed how your most profound insights seem to arrive, not when you're frantically searching for answers, but in those rare moments when your mind is still? This is no coincidence. Your intuition has always been broadcasting wisdom, but the reception has been poor due to mental static. I discovered this hidden truth during a particularly challenging period in my life. Decisions loomed large, and the more I wrestled with analysis, the further I seemed from clarity. It wasn't until I surrendered to silence, truly embraced it, that the path forward revealed itself with surprising simplicity, not through elaborate planning, but through a gentle knowing that arose from somewhere deeper than thought. Making regular appointments with silence becomes a revolutionary act in our hyper-connected world. These appointments don't require special equipment or expertise, just your willingness to step away from the noise. Start with 5 minutes daily, gradually extending as you become comfortable. With the initially uncomfortable stillness, what begins as an exercise soon transforms into a sanctuary you'll eagerly return to. The most successful visionaries throughout history have understood this principle. Edison, Einstein, Gandhi, they all cultivated practices that allowed them to access deeper wells of wisdom through periods of deliberate, quiet contemplation. They recognized that certainty doesn't come from endless external validation, but emerges from that centered place within. When you regularly visit this silent realm, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Your actions in the external world carry a different quality. There's less hesitation, less second-guessing. You move with a quiet confidence that others can sense, but perhaps can't quite name. Decisions that once paralyzed you with anxiety now unfold with an organic sense of rightness. This internal alignment becomes your greatest asset in fulfilling your deepest aspirations. Instead of pushing against resistance, you learn to move with the natural current of your authentic direction. The power that emerges isn't the forceful kind that depletes you, but a sustainable energy that replenishes as you use it. Remember that this practice isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Even a few moments of genuine internal silence can reset your entire system, bringing you back to your center when external circumstances threaten to pull you off balance. It's about creating a relationship with that quiet place so you can return there quickly when needed. If any of this resonates with your experience, or if you're intrigued by the possibility, write "Silence Speaks" in the comments below. Now, let's explore how this internal silence becomes the foundation for another crucial element of bringing your vision to life. Do you know what truly separates people who achieve their desires from those who constantly struggle? It's not just positive thinking, it's the emotional energy that powers those thoughts. Visualization without emotional fuel is like trying to launch a rocket with an empty tank. The thought provides the direction, but the feeling creates the momentum. When you think about something you want, pay attention to what's happening in your body. Are you feeling expanded, light, excited, or contracted, heavy, doubtful? This bodily response reveals the true emotional current beneath your conscious thoughts. I discovered this hidden truth during a particularly difficult period in my life. Despite having vision boards and repeating affirmations, nothing was materializing. The transformation began when I realized my emotional state was contradicting my mental pictures. I was visualizing abundance while feeling scarcity. I was affirming success while harboring fear of failure. The universe doesn't respond to our words or even our mental images. It responds to our energetic signature. And that signature is primarily emotional. Think about it this way. Your emotions are broadcasting on a specific frequency, and similar experiences are being drawn to that frequency. This explains why two people can use identical visualization techniques with dramatically different outcomes. One person might visualize success while feeling worthy and expectant, creating a powerful magnetic force that draws opportunities. The other might visualize the same scenario while secretly feeling undeserving or anxious, effectively pushing away the very things they're trying to attract. Your emotional alignment is the secret ingredient that determines whether your desires manifest or dissolve. When you visualize something you want, but feel doubt, worry, or unworthiness, you're sending mixed signals to the universe. It's like pressing the gas and brake pedals simultaneously. You'll stay stuck. The journey of manifestation begins with honest emotional inventory. What do you feel when you think about your desires? If the answer includes fear, doubt, or unworthiness, that's where the real work begins. Not in more visualization, but in healing those emotional blocks. Consider how children manifest their desires. They don't overthink. They simply want something with pure emotion and expectation. They haven't yet learned to doubt their worthiness or question the possibility. This innocent alignment of thought and feeling creates powerful manifestation energy. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how we can actually shift our emotional blueprint to support rather than sabotage our desires. The good news is that emotional energy is fluid. It can be transformed through conscious awareness. When you catch yourself in a negative emotional state while thinking about your goals, don't suppress it. Instead, acknowledge it as valuable feedback about underlying beliefs that need addressing. What's fascinating is how quickly manifestation can occur once emotional alignment is achieved. I've witnessed people struggle for years with the same goal, only to have it materialize within weeks once they resolved their emotional contradiction. The universe wasn't withholding, it was simply responding to their complete energetic signal, not just their conscious thoughts. If this resonates with your own experience, type emotion equals power in the comments. Let me know if you've noticed how your feelings either accelerate or block your manifestations. What we sometimes overlook in this manifestation journey is how our emotions can become either powerful catalysts or stubborn roadblocks. When fear, doubt, or anxiety take residence in your mind, they create a frequency that repels exactly what you're trying to attract. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the things you worry about most seem to materialize with uncanny precision? That's not coincidence. It's the raw power of emotional energy directing your manifestation compass. The hidden truth here is that your subconscious doesn't differentiate between positive and negative focus. It simply responds to intensity. When you obsess over avoiding something, you're inadvertently directing your manifestation energy toward that very thing. It's like telling someone, "Don't think about a pink elephant." What immediately springs to mind? Exactly. This is where the transformation begins, shifting from the language of lack to the language of abundance. Instead of thinking, "I hope this works," or "I don't want to be broke," you must retrain your mental patterns to feel as if your desires have already manifested. This isn't pretending or delusion, it's strategically aligning your emotional frequency with your intentions. The sensation of already having what you desire creates a powerful, energetic imprint. When you genuinely feel wealthy, your subconscious mind works tirelessly to match your outer reality with this inner state. Your decisions change, your opportunities expand, and paths previously invisible suddenly appear before you. I discovered this revelation years ago when I was struggling financially. Rather than focusing on my empty bank account, I began walking through luxury stores with a sense of belonging, not to purchase anything, but to acclimate my energy to abundance. I'd imagine how it felt to buy whatever I wanted without hesitation. Within months, unexpected opportunities aligned that completely transformed my financial situation. The most fascinating aspect of this approach is how it affects your immediate experience. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, you release the desperate energy of wanting. Paradoxically, by no longer needing something to happen, you remove the resistive force that was blocking it all along. This emotional freedom creates space for manifestation to occur naturally and effortlessly. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this mental alignment creates tangible changes in your physical environment. You see, the bridge between your current reality and your desired outcome isn't just built on thoughts. It's constructed through consistent emotional states that gradually reshape your perception and, consequently, your experience. Think of your emotional state as the soil in which your manifestations grow. Fear, worry, and doubt create acidic conditions where even the strongest seeds struggle to take root. But when you cultivate feelings of gratitude, certainty, and abundance, you create fertile ground where manifestations flourish, almost automatically. This internal work represents the most profound journey many of us will ever undertake. It requires honest self-reflection about the emotions we habitually harbor and the courage to release patterns that no longer serve us. The impact of this inner transformation extends far beyond material acquisition. It fundamentally changes how you experience every moment of your life. If this resonates with what you've experienced in your own manifestation practice, write in the comments, "I'm aligning my frequency." I'd love to hear how you're working with these emotional states in your own journey. And that's why when you really want to shift your energy, it helps to envision your manifestation as if watching a compelling movie scene. This technique isn't just visualization, it's emotional time travel. The mystical threads connecting our invisible thoughts to visible reality can only be woven with genuine feeling. When you imagine receiving that job offer, walking into your dream home, or reconciling with someone important, let yourself fully experience the relief, the excitement, the gratitude. Your body doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined emotions and real ones, which is why this practice can transform your energetic frequency. I've discovered that most people miss this crucial element when attempting to manifest. They focus on the mental pictures but neglect the emotional dimension that gives those images power. Your subconscious responds more to how a vision feels than how it looks. This emotional resonance creates ripples in the quantum field that many ancient traditions understood long before modern physics caught up. Something equally profound happens in moments of silence. Our world constantly bombards us with noise, opinions, advertisements, notifications, all demanding our attention and validation. Yet the most significant transformations often occur in quiet, unwitnessed moments. That conversation you have with yourself while driving alone, the realization that strikes during a morning meditation, the silent decision to finally release a limiting belief while washing dishes. We've been conditioned to believe change only matters when it's documented or acknowledged by others. But true metamorphosis happens in these private sanctuaries of silence. The Japanese concept of ma, the meaningful space between objects, applies to our inner work too. The pause between thoughts is where wisdom emerges. The space between reactions is where freedom lives. I found that journaling about these quiet revelations helps anchor them in reality, not to show anyone, but to honor the profound journey happening beneath the surface of your life. These private evolutions might never make it to your social media feed, but they're reshaping your inner landscape in ways that eventually transform your outer circumstances. The space between stimulus and response contains incredible power. When you're triggered by something, that micro moment of silence before reacting is where your manifestation practice truly lives. Expanding that space through mindfulness gives you the chance to choose a response aligned with what you want to create, rather than what you've habitually created in the past. Now, I want to go even deeper into this connection between silence and manifestation. The mind chatter that most of us experience constantly actually creates static in our manifesting frequency. Think of it like trying to tune a radio while someone's shouting in your ear. The clearest signals come through when we quiet the mental noise first. I've noticed in my own journey that my most significant breakthroughs didn't arrive with thunderous fanfare. They slipped in through the back door of my consciousness during quiet moments of surrender. There's something almost paradoxical about this process. The less you grasp for transformation, the more available it becomes to you. This invisible inner work creates the foundation for everything visible in your life. Like an iceberg, what others see is just the tip of your manifestation process. The massive structure beneath the surface, your beliefs, emotional patterns, and silent commitments, determines the stability of what appears in your physical reality. If something in your life keeps repeating in unwanted patterns, look to these quiet, private spaces. What conversations are you having with yourself when no one's listening? What emotions are you allowing to flow or suppressing when you're completely alone? The answers reveal the blueprint you're unconsciously following. If this resonates with your experience, write "silent power" in the comments. I'm curious how many of you have noticed these quiet transformations in your own life. Now, I want to dive deeper into two of the most underestimated forces in manifestation: the power of assumption and the profound impact of silence. When I talk about the power of assumption, I'm referring to something far more transformative than merely thinking positively. Assumption is about living from the end result, mentally inhabiting the reality where your desire has already manifested. Think about it. When you absolutely know something to be true, you don't hope for it. You don't wish for it. You simply proceed with your life from that knowing. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to effortlessly attract their desires, while others struggle despite using the same techniques. The first group has mastered the art of assumption. They don't affirmatively say, "I will get this job," or "I hope to find love." Instead, they move through the world with the quiet certainty of someone who already has these things. Your mind doesn't distinguish between what's physically occurring and what's vividly imagined with feeling. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you create a bridge of incidents that leads inevitably to its manifestation. It's not about convincing yourself of something against evidence. It's about recognizing that your current reality was first manifested in your consciousness before appearing in your physical world. The journey of assumption requires mental discipline. Throughout your day, notice when your thoughts contradict your desires. "This is too difficult" becomes "I'm figuring this out step by step." "I never have enough money" transforms into "I'm managing my resources wisely as abundance grows." These subtle shifts aren't trivial. They're the foundation of your manifested reality. Equally powerful yet often overlooked is the practice of silence. In our constantly connected world, we've lost appreciation for the revelations that emerge from stillness. Silence isn't merely the absence of noise. It's a state where your intuition speaks clearly, where divine guidance becomes audible above the chaos of everyday thoughts. When you intentionally practice silence, you create space to align your conscious and subconscious mind. The mental chatter that normally drowns out your deeper knowing fades away. This isn't just philosophical. This alignment is precisely what amplifies your manifestation power. Your thoughts and emotions harmonize, creating a unified field of intent rather than the scattered, contradictory energies most people emit. There's a certain authority that comes with someone who can be comfortable in silence. Think about the most confident, centered people you know. They rarely rush to fill conversational gaps or nervously chatter. They understand the power of a measured response, of thinking before speaking. This same principle applies to your inner dialogue about your desires. The mindset shift comes when you realize silence isn't passive. It's an active choice to disconnect from external influences that might contaminate your vision. It's in these silent moments that you can truly assess whether the thoughts you're entertaining align with the future you're creating or are merely echoes of past. Limitations. Try this practice. For just 5 minutes daily, sit in complete silence with the feeling of already having what you desire. No affirmations, no visualizations, just the quiet knowing. Notice how this simple practice begins to reshape your relationship with your manifestations, bringing a depth that technique alone cannot achieve. I'm curious, which of these concepts resonates more with your personal experience? Type, "Assumption speaks to me," or "Silence is my power," in the comments below to share which principle you feel drawn to explore further in your manifestation practice. Your environment isn't just the physical space around you, it's a direct reflection of your internal landscape. Every object, every interaction, every energy signature in your surroundings is communicating with your subconscious mind on a level most people never recognize. This silent dialogue shapes your manifestation capacity in profound ways. Think about the last time you entered a room and immediately felt either uplifted or drained. That wasn't coincidental. It was your energetic system responding to the vibrational frequency of that environment. When you're serious about manifestation, you must become intentional about curating both your physical and mental surroundings to support your desires. I've discovered through years of working with clients that environmental alignment creates a powerful acceleration effect. One client transformed her manifestation results simply by removing items from her home that reminded her of past failures. Another created a dedicated manifestation corner with objects representing her desires. Their external shifts catalyzed internal transformations that made manifestation nearly effortless. Your mind operates like a garden. What grows depends entirely on what you plant and nurture. The words you speak, the thoughts you entertain, and the conversations you participate in are all seeds being planted in this garden. When you allow negative, limiting, or fearful patterns to dominate your mental environment, you're essentially fertilizing weeds that will choke out your manifestations. This is why constructing a mental sanctuary becomes essential for anyone serious about their manifestation practice. This sanctuary isn't physical, it's a carefully curated inner space filled with elevated words, empowering beliefs, and expansive thoughts. It becomes your manifestation headquarters, where you can retreat to realign with your intentions whenever external circumstances challenge your focus. Think of this mental sanctuary as your personal creation studio. Within its boundaries, you get to establish the rules of engagement, the quality of energy, and the vibrational set point from which all your manifestations emerge. You wouldn't attempt to create a masterpiece in a cluttered, chaotic art studio, so why would you try to manifest your desires from a cluttered, chaotic mind? The journey of building this mental sanctuary involves a deliberate revolution in how you speak to yourself. The internal dialogue happening between your ears creates ripples that eventually become the waves of your physical reality. When you elevate this dialogue, infusing it with possibility, expectation, and certainty, you're essentially pre-paving the energetic pathways your manifestations will travel. I've witnessed remarkable transformations when people commit to this environmental alignment. One participant in my workshop arrived, feeling defeated by repeated manifestation failures. Through our work together, she discovered her home was filled with subtle reminders of scarcity, bills prominently displayed, empty containers kept just in case, and spaces cluttered with things she didn't love. As she methodically transformed her environment, her manifestations accelerated at a pace that astonished everyone in the group. This environmental mirroring works in both directions. Your inner state affects your outer environment, and your outer environment reinforces your inner state. When you understand this feedback loop, you gain access to one of the most powerful leverage points in the manifestation process. By consciously adjusting either side of this equation, you create momentum that transforms both. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this environmental principle extends beyond your personal space and into the relationships that surround you. The people you spend time with are perhaps the most influential aspect of your environment. creating vibrational imprints that either support or undermine your manifestation efforts. Drop a comment saying, "Sanctuary created," if you're ready to commit to constructing your own mental sanctuary for powerful manifestations. The concept of active patience often feels contradictory in our fast-paced world. We're constantly bombarded with messages about hustling harder and making things happen immediately. But when we examine the manifestation process more deeply, rushing actually creates resistance. Active patience isn't passive waiting. It's a powerful stance where you're confidently allowing the universe to orchestrate perfect timing while remaining ready to take inspired action. Think about planting a seed. No matter how much you might want it to grow faster, trying to force a seedling to become a tree overnight would only damage it. The same principle applies to our manifestations. The universe operates on divine timing that often doesn't match our preferred timeline. When we push against this natural rhythm, we create energetic friction that actually pushes away what we're trying to attract. This doesn't mean sitting idle. Active patience means continuing to take aligned steps forward while trusting the process. It means releasing the anxious energy of "when will it happen?" and replacing it with the calm certainty of "it is already happening." This shift in mindset creates the space for manifestation to unfold. Naturally, the hidden truth is that this approach requires tremendous inner strength. It challenges our need for control and immediate gratification, yet the transformation that comes from embracing active patience is profound. You begin to experience peace during the journey rather than postponing it until you reach your destination. Now, gratitude serves as the perfect companion to active patience, acting as a powerful catalyst that elevates your vibrational frequency. When you genuinely appreciate what you already have, you automatically align yourself with the frequency of abundance. This isn't just spiritual talk. There's a practical psychological component at work. Gratitude literally rewires your brain to notice more positive aspects of your reality. Consider the impact of starting each day by acknowledging 5 specific things you're grateful for. This simple practice shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from what's missing to what's present. And since manifestation operates on the principle of like attracting like, maintaining a grateful state naturally attracts more experiences that inspire gratitude. What's fascinating is how gratitude accelerates the manifestation process. By appreciating in advance, feeling thankful for your desires as if they're already fulfilled, you create an energetic bridge between your current reality and your desired outcome. You're essentially telling the universe, "I'm already experiencing the feeling of having this, so it's natural for it to appear in my physical reality." This represents a fundamental shift in consciousness. Instead of manifesting from a place of wanting and needing, which inherently communicates lack, you manifest from a place of fullness and appreciation. The journey becomes less about desperately seeking external circumstances to make you happy, and more about recognizing the abundance that already exists within and around you. I want to go even deeper into how these principles can be practically applied in daily life. The revelations come when we move beyond intellectual understanding to embodied practice. When we integrate both active patience and genuine gratitude, we create an internal environment where manifestation becomes a natural process rather than a forced endeavor. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own experiences of manifestation, write divine timing in the comments below. When we talk about manifesting abundance, it's impossible to overlook the foundation of it all, self-love. This isn't just some fluffy concept, it's the energetic backbone of attraction. Think about it. How can you receive what you don't believe you deserve? Self-love sends out a powerful vibrational signal to the universe that says, "I am worthy of receiving all good things." I've witnessed remarkable transformations in people who began prioritizing genuine self-acceptance. One woman I worked with spent years struggling to manifest financial stability despite following all the right techniques. What changed everything wasn't a new affirmation or visualization practice. It was when she finally addressed the deep-seated belief that she didn't deserve success. The universe reflects back to us the relationship we have with ourselves. It's like looking into a cosmic mirror that shows not our physical appearance, but our internal sense of value. When you truly honor yourself, treat yourself with compassion, and believe in your inherent worthiness, you create an energetic alignment that naturally draws abundance toward you. But here's where many spiritual seekers encounter a roadblock: resistance. Those stubborn inner barriers that feel like invisible walls between you and what you desire. Resistance often manifests as that voice that whispers, "This won't work for me," or "I'm not good enough." These thoughts aren't just passing concerns. They're energy blockages that physically disrupt your manifestation ability. The journey to clearing resistance requires courage to face emotional burdens you might have been carrying for years, sometimes decades. I remember working with a client who couldn't understand why abundance seemed to flow easily to everyone except him. During our sessions, we uncovered a childhood memory where his father had told him money only comes through struggle and hardship. This single belief had created a lifetime of unconscious resistance to receiving money with ease. Emotional release doesn't always happen in dramatic breakthrough moments. Sometimes it's a gentle, consistent practice of acknowledging what you feel, honoring it without judgment, and then consciously choosing to let it go. Think of it like cleaning out a pipe that's been clogged. As you remove the blockages bit by bit, energy starts flowing more freely. Many practitioners neglect this vital inner work, focusing instead on the external techniques of manifestation. But without addressing the resistance, these techniques often yield disappointing results. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has holes in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it can't hold what you're trying to accumulate. The beautiful revelation in this work is discovering that your emotional burdens were never meant to be permanent fixtures in your energy field. They were simply experiences asking to be processed and released. As you practice this emotional liberation, you'll notice an unmistakable lightness in your being, a sense that energy can now move through you without obstruction. Now I want to go even deeper into the practical side of this energy work, exploring specific techniques that can help you identify and transform your unique patterns of resistance. Because while the principles are universal, your journey of unblocking is entirely personal, shaped by your individual experiences and the specific ways you've learned to protect yourself from vulnerability. If what I've shared resonates with your own experience of feeling blocked despite your best efforts, write "ready to unblock" in the comments below. Now that we've explored how the law of attraction responds to our vibrational state and emotional frequency, let's dive into the practical disciplines that transform this knowledge into tangible results. The bridge between understanding and manifestation is built through daily practice. Those consistent actions that may seem small but create powerful ripples in your reality. Visualization isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's a deliberate programming of your subconscious mind. When you dedicate even 5 minutes each morning to vividly imagining your desires as already fulfilled, you're essentially creating neural pathways that begin to accept this new reality as possible. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, which is why athletes use visualization to improve performance even when they're not physically practicing. Paired with affirmations, this practice becomes even more potent. But here's where many people miss the mark. Affirmations work not when they're empty words, repeated robotically, but when they're charged with genuine emotion and belief. Notice how your body feels when you state your affirmation. Is there resistance? That's valuable feedback about where your true vibration lies. The transformation happens in these daily moments of alignment, not in grand gestures or occasional bursts of motivation. It's like watering a plant, daily rather than drowning it once a month and wondering why it's not thriving. The universe responds to consistency, to the quiet certainty that develops when you show up for your vision day after day. What fascinates me about this journey is how the invisible eventually manifests as visible. Every thought you nurture, every emotion you cultivate, creates ripples of energy that ultimately solidify into your material experience. It's the hidden architecture behind what appears as luck or coincidence to the untrained eye. When you commit to these daily disciplines, you're signaling to the universe that you're ready for the manifestation of your desires. It's a declaration of readiness, not just wishing for a different reality, but actively preparing for it. This preparation is both internal and external. Internally, you're aligning your vibration. Externally, you're taking inspired actions that move you toward your goals. There's a beautiful synchronicity that begins to emerge. When your inner work aligns with your outer actions, opportunities seem to arise at just the right moment. People who can assist you appear in your life. Solutions to problems reveal themselves. This isn't magic. It's the natural consequence of becoming energetically attuned to what you're seeking. The revelations that unfold during this process often surprise even the most dedicated practitioners. Many find that what they thought they wanted shifts as they become more aligned with their authentic selves. The journey becomes about not just manifesting specific outcomes, but discovering your true purpose and passion along the way. Remember that this work isn't about forcing or controlling external circumstances. It's about creating the internal conditions that naturally attract what vibrationally matches your state of being. When you're in alignment, you don't need to chase or struggle. You simply allow the manifestation to unfold while taking inspired action from a place of trust. If you're resonating with these ideas about daily discipline, creating profound change, write "creating daily magic" in the comments below. Now I want to go even deeper into how this practice creates a foundation for receiving what you've been calling into your life. Enthusiasm and passion aren't just nice additions to the manifestation process. They're essential catalysts that transform ordinary thoughts into powerful creative forces. When you infuse your intentions with genuine excitement, you create an energetic signature that resonates at a much higher frequency. Think about those moments when you were absolutely lit up about something, maybe a new project, relationship, or opportunity. That vibrant energy you felt wasn't just emotional, it was actually magnetic on an energetic level. This magnetic quality is precisely what draws your manifestations closer to physical reality. The universe responds to emotional intensity, not just to the words you speak or thoughts you think. It's like the difference between asking for something in a monotone whisper versus declaring it with your whole being. The passionate declaration creates ripples across the energetic field surrounding you, organizing quantum possibilities in your favor. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how the specific language of our affirmations acts as programming code for the subconscious mind. The words we choose aren't arbitrary. They're instructions that your deeper mind interprets quite literally. For instance, when you say, "I am becoming wealthy," your subconscious interprets this as a process that hasn't yet completed. But when you declare, "I am wealthy," you establish a different energetic foundation altogether. The subconscious mind doesn't recognize time as we consciously experience it. It operates primarily in the present moment, which is why present tense affirmations tend to be significantly more effective. When you speak as if your desire is already fulfilled, you create a fascinating internal alignment where your subconscious begins reorganizing your perception, opportunities, and even behaviors to match this new reality. This internal realignment is where the true transformation begins. Your subconscious doesn't judge whether your affirmation matches your current circumstances. It simply accepts the programming and begins working to make your external reality match your internal declarations. It's like planting specific seeds in fertile soil. The growth happens naturally once the right conditions are established. What many people miss in this process is the importance of emotional congruence with your affirmations. Speaking powerful words while feeling doubt or unworthiness creates conflicting instructions for your subconscious. The words say one thing, but the emotional energy says another. And emotional energy always speaks louder in the language of manifestation. The real journey of manifestation isn't about forcing external change through will alone. It's about creating such clarity and alignment within yourself that the external must eventually reflect the internal. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to manifest effortlessly while others struggle despite using the same techniques. When you combine precisely chosen affirmation language with authentic emotional intensity, you create a resonant field of possibility that begins shifting the quantum fabric of your experience. Some call this alignment, getting into the vortex, or finding your manifestation sweet spot, that place where intention, emotion, and belief all harmonize perfectly. What's your experience with using emotionally charged affirmations? Drop "energy follows emotion" in the comments if you've noticed how your emotional state impacts your manifestation results. If you've stayed with me throughout this exploration of emotional energy and manifestation, I want to thank you for your presence. What we've discussed today isn't just theoretical. It's a practical approach to transforming how you create your reality through the power of emotional resonance and precise language. If something in this video resonated with you personally, I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Drop "energy follows emotion" to let me know you made it to the end and that this message found you at the right time. Give this video a like if you found value in our conversation today. It helps others discover these concepts that might be exactly what they need right now, too. There's a video right here that takes these principles even deeper and shows you how to apply them to specific areas of your life. Click and continue with me over there, where we'll expand your manifestation toolkit even further.